I think Trump's tariffs have finally kicked in because look at the price of avocados at Walmart, $2.96 each. And he even says it again, $2.96 each for avocados. That's insane.
Guys, the tariffs are in active effect. Look at these clothes in Walmart. All the tags have these bottom pieces. All the tags have these bottom pieces ripped off. But then you find one with the bottom still on, $10.98. The price is raised to $11.98. This is the effect of Donald Trump's tariffs. I'm gonna show you a pretty bad one right here. This is on child's clothes. You can see they ripped off the bottom. That's what it's supposed to look like, $6.98. These are up to $10.98 now. That is a $4 increase. And on the ones that there's no bottom price to rip off, they're putting these stickers so you wouldn't know what the old price was. Here's a backpack that was $19.97. Now it's $24.97. While in the store, we saw anywhere from $1 to $8 price increases across products all over the store. If you don't believe me, go to your local, whether it be Walmart or Target, and check this out for yourself. When you're going through the clothing, they forget to rip off. The employees are tasked with ripping off those bottom pieces. They don't get them all. They miss a couple, and that's where you can see what the old price was versus the new price up on the board. This is the effect of Donald Trump's tariffs.
I saw a news clip about those farmers in Arkansas, and it went something like this, where it said, due to high rising costs and the effects of tariffs, all they can do now is pray. Well, thoughts and fucking prayers, because you could have done a lot more than that. Arkansas, just like so many states in this country, decided to vote overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. His policies of mass deportations now, which got rid of so many people in their workforce. Tariffs, which are now crippling farmers as they cannot get their products into other markets worldwide. And the tariffs as well hitting them double time because now the equipment they need, the materials, the farm, the machinery is costing them so much. Their family farms are going to go under. And at this point, I don't care. My give a damn is busted. I understand we need farmers. We need food. We need everything that they do. Great. But I can't help you. So as you're praying to God, please remember that God helps those who help themselves. You could have done something about this. You put yourself in this situation. I cannot stand to hear more belly aching from these weak ass bitchin' farmers. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Get a handle on your life. I don't care if you're from my state of Indiana, Arkansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois. I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear about tariffs and anything like that, and you're surprised of what's going on. Put two and two together and understand your vote for Donald Trump was a vote for tariffs and the end of your family farm. So when J.D. Vance and whoever else come in here and scoop it up, you can pray to God, but you can thank yourself.
Take a look at this. Arkansas farmers, many of them lifelong Trump voters, are now begging Washington for a bailout because their farms are collapsing under his policies.
Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations. A dismal global market and plunging commodity prices mean there's little to no hope of breaking even for many farmers, even as sky-high input costs rise because of inflation and now tariffs. Not to mention bad weather earlier in the year.
So after a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
Though President Trump's big beautiful bill provided a much needed update to safety net subsidies for farmers, they won't see those federal dollars until late next year, by which time some have projected that as many as 1/4 or even 1/3 of Arkansas farmers will face bankruptcy or be forced to leave the business amid the crisis the American ag economy is currently in. It's already taken its toll this year. Today, Arkansas farmers gathered to share their struggles with staffers from the state's congressional delegation, pleading for Arkansas lawmakers on Capitol Hill and the governor to convince President Trump to provide emergency funding to help them make it to next year.
We have to have ad hoc payments right now to make it through this year.
If there's no emergency funding this year, there will be 1 out of 3 farmers will file bankruptcy.
Until the federal government steps in to save them, farmers have no one to turn to but God.
Farmers, in my opinion, dear Lord, and it's only my opinion, are closer to thee than anyone else on this earth.
So the same people who cheer when Republicans rail against big government are suddenly demanding big government checks to keep their operations alive? Let's be real, this crisis didn't come out of nowhere. Trump campaigned on this. Commodity prices tanked, tariffs jacked up costs, and Trump's so-called big beautiful bill delays help until it's too late. And here's the hypocrisy. For years, these folks have been told socialism is evil. But now that the free market has chewed them up and spit them out, they're praying for socialism to save them. These are the same voters who were fine with cruelty as long as it meant deporting immigrants or stripping healthcare from someone else. But the second that cruelty comes for them, suddenly it's tears and prayers for government help. This is the classic fuck around and find out. You voted for the guy who promised cruelty and chaos, and now you're shocked when it lands on your doorstep. The sad part, the human toll is real. Generations of farm lost, and all because of political choices that put ideology over survival.
Now, I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
He said, I love you, Mr. Trump. I need to see the fruit of your love.
5 of my customers have committed. That's how serious that this is.
And what it costs for us to farm is astronomical now.
I farm with paid-for equipment. All my tractors are 50 years old, and I can't hardly make this deal work. I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm.
After a horrible year last year where most farmers in Arkansas Delta lost money, this year's going to be worse.
We made the decision to go out this year in the spring. So my son will not be the seventh generation on our farm.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Have you noticed the prices going up?
Of course not. I watch Fox News and I pray religiously to the Southern tragedy Jesus. I don't see anything. A perfect cult member for MAGA. Stop voting for criminals.
Wait a minute. So farmers are suing Trump because they want their stimulus checks back. Oh, no. Y'all voted for this, remember? Elections have consequences, baby. So here's the tea. Joe Biden and Congress put grants together to give money to farmers. Trump gets in and what does he do? Cuts contracts, snatches the money, and leaves the farmers high and dry. But now the same folks who cheered him on are like, we want our money. Now let's connect the dots real quick on something. For decades, farmers have been living on government handouts, billions in subsidies to keep their farms afloat. While some of those same farmers turn around and point their fingers at families on food stamps. And they have the nerve to call them welfare queens. Nah, let's call it what it is. The biggest welfare queens in American society are wearing overalls, not wigs and heels. And here's the irony. Farmers love to preach about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, guess what, farmers? Take your own advice. If you can't sustain your farm without taxpayer bailouts, maybe farming ain't your ministry, boo. Because my tax dollars and your tax dollars shouldn't be propping up businesses that can't sustain on their own. So no, farmers shouldn't get a dime. Elections have consequences and farmers are finally feeling it. What do you think? So should we keep footing the bill for people who keep vilifying other people who depend on assistance? Or is it finally time that farmers actually live by their own rules? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear if y'all truly are done funding America's real welfare queens.
$1.32 for one nectarine. $1.32 for one nectarine, y'all. I'd be better off walking over here and getting a goddamn orange. For 97 friggin' cents. Well, wait, there's more. One apple, apple is 1.78 a pound. But those are each. Look, lemons, 68 friggin' cents. They didn't went up. They're twice as much as they were. Look, y'all, tomatoes, $1.97. $2 for a tomato. No salsa for you.
Dear MAGA, this is what you did by voting for Donald Trump. You brought the highest beef prices ever in this country, ever. You did this. Now there's security tags on beef in the grocery stores. You did that.
We're going through tariffs, and people are so quick to...
Who pays the tariffs?
What?
Who pays the tariffs?
Foreign countries pay the tariffs.
Okay.
And let's talk about
No,
Ukraine.
wait, we're talking about tariffs. So the product comes in from China, it gets on a ship,
right,
and then it comes in, and I'm the American manufacturer. I'm going to use that stuff from China. Who paid the tariff on it?
The Chinese government pays a tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. You're thinking because you're paying more for that product. Because the Chinese product...
It's going to be more expensive. It is.
But look what's happening now, guys. You go to Europe. I travel to China often. I travel to Europe often. You don't see like a Buick in China, but you see these Asian, you see these BMWs, Audi, and all that. Why do you think?
I really need you to understand this. Who is paying the tariff?
The government that is manufacturing that product. Is all we're saying is this. Look, I just want it to be even. Instead of us paying 400% of tariffs. How you doing? Hey, good. I want to.
I'm an importer and an exporter.
Yeah.
For 20 years.
Okay.
When a product comes into the U.S., there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
I, as the buyer of that product, follow U.S. law and pay the tariff. Some goods are tariff-free, but when I pay that tariff, I'm an American citizen, I'm an American taxpayer, right? That tariff might be 1%, it might be 7%, it might be 14%. That means I'm a U.S. company. I pay that tariff to the U.S. government, and that increase in the cost of the product, I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff.
Then what about? What do you say to the Europeans who allow us to not charge us as much tariffs when our tariffs are higher when they go overseas as opposed to theirs coming here?
So tariffs are never a zero-sum game. Tariffs are a tool. So, for example, you might say, you want to sell us your beans, right?
Yeah.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn, right? But the cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer. The end consumer always pays the tariff.
But then, don't you think at the end of the day there may be more competition within the market of the U.S. government? If not only now there's not the cheap Chinese product coming in, but you also now have the American manufacturer.
You're confusing the question. This is not a question of competition. The point we're discussing is who bears the cost of the tariff.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if it's good policy for the U.S. government to tax beans and for the Chinese government to tariff corn. I don't know if there's any you can't compare those. That's beyond my expertise. But what I can absolutely assure you on my eyes is that a product that comes into the U.S. is paid for by a U.S. company, and the increased cost of that is borne by all of us.
I can't.
That has never.
I can't count.
I am an importer and exporter. I do it for a living.
Okay.
I have a tariff sheet that's bigger than 500 Bibles.
Then what's the alternative? At one.
Here we go again. Another fuck around and find out moment. This one, Arkansas farmers. Yep, Arkansas farmers who voted overwhelmingly for President Trump. Well, here's a quote from one of those Arkansas farmers, and I'm going to do it in my best Arkansas accent. Right now, we're in a very dire situation. September is upon us. Harvest is starting in the deep south, and we have 0 bushels of soybeans on the books to be sold to China. Yeah, no shit. You voted for the tariff guy. And now Arkansas farmers want a handout. They want federal assistance. This poor ass red state that votes Republican every freaking year, they want a handout. You damn socialists. I guess you're finding out that racism sure is expansive, huh? Fucking dumbasses.
Eggs have come down 400%. Everybody has eggs now. They're having eggs for breakfast again.
This is amazing. So eggs have come down 400%. So if you were spending $20 for 12 eggs, you would now get your 12 eggs for free, and the farmer would give you $60. Come on, Donald. Basic mathematics. I thought you were a genius.
Hello guys, welcome back to our commentary hub. And in our today's episode, we'll look on how this massive tariff has been introduced by the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has really affected their own it has already affected the Americans and the Americans trade and global at large. And especially now, let us look into how it has already affected the Americans. And as you are going, or how, as you are digging deep of how things and where it all started. It all started with choices that the people of America made. Like when they were voting, of course they didn't look on how the policies that has been imposed by the President of United States of America, Donald Trump, can be affecting them, or can will one day or in future will affect them. Now the future is today. Now other people or other tribes or other people has already taken their place in United States of America, forgetting that they were most privileged people in their land. Like there is these privileges that were given to the people who are farmers. Of course, I don't think when you are American, or I don't think like okay, and do the agriculture business. And of course they were so privileged because there were these privileges that were privileged to, they were getting something, of course, from the government, and they were really supported in a big way. But all what the blacks were doing, they were toiling their land and all that, they were working, they were the workforce. Now they forgot that when these people will be deported back to their countries, they have no place now to run. And now they are complaining that like now the things, their farm, or their produce are rotting on the land back on their farm, and there is no food again, even in the stores, because now like tariff, the issue of tariff, they were also buying or exporting or deporting things now from other nations, and this is not happening at all right now. Like for instance, the farmers, they were exporting the produce from their farms to Indians, and Indians are no longer working with them because of high tariff, or this massive tariff that's been introduced by a president. Guys, a lot has been done, and now these farmers they are complaining and they are crying, and they have gone to a next step now that they have remembered God, that they have done a mistake. Yes, it is always good to go back to God when you do a mistake, but remember this: God is so justice, and God is so good. In the time of Abel and Cain was asked by God, what have you done? Why did you do this? And because there is this guilt and all that maybe he was feeling, and God asked them and told him, if you choose to do the right thing, I don't think like this would have happened to you. And back now to Americans, if you did the right thing, if you voted for justice, if you voted for the policies which would benefit you, instead of voting for the things that, instead of voting for the policies which will be of benefit to you, you tried now to vote out the blacks, you voted out the brown, you voted out the people who are not, you're not of the same race. And this has really affected you because of course you cannot be on your own, and you cannot even work on your own. Even if you be given the whole earth, the whole of the earth belongs to you Americans, of course you cannot take it all. And like now we are here, we are the people now, and okay, that is how maybe you felt about America. But I want to remind you this, like we need each other. You need that black person, and that's why God created that black person. You need that brown person also. You as a white, you also needed So you're not exempted from the policies and from the need of God. So I feel like you didn't do the right thing when you were voting, and that's why all these things are happening. Like these tariffs has really hit you in a big way. In a big way. America, the produce and their commodity and the things on the street. This I fear be true. Like America is now going somewhere. Is going now into a place of like there'll be no superpower. There will not be superpower. There will not be. We are learning a lot. We are seeing a lot hidden, and so many things are unveiling themselves. Like now we can see that because of these tariffs, things have changed. Like Indians are not trading with America. China is not trading with America. Last year they are not trading with Americans, and like the nation of like Indian, now they have gone back now to, and they are looking for a place where they can trade the trade with, like they have gone back now to Africa, to Asia. I mean, not Asia, to China, to Russia, and so many questions, so many nations now, like they are coming together. They're coming together. We don't know. We don't know what is happening. We don't know what is all about. What is about? What's all about this shift? Is there shift of power in a way? What's all about this shift? Is there shift of power in a way? I don't know. And what was the work, or what was the goal? What was the major goal for these tariffs? Of course, when they were introducing these tariffs, it was to reduce the trade deficit in America. But it has remained large, the deficit, and it has already increased. There is a clip that will be played, and that has been played already. This clip is telling us who are the benefits, who are the beneficiaries, who benefit from who benefits from the tariffs, who are the people who pay the tariffs and know that things to do with the tariffs. And of course we learn a lot. And in this commentary hub, we are here now to learn, and please subscribe to that channel because we learn more. Also, I will urge you in that comment section, kindly tell us what is happening. If you are in America, tell us more about things which are the shifting things, or how things has changed and all that. And what are the worries? Where is the America going? What like now other nations, what can we learn now from America? Which are the mistakes that they did that now they will not repeat it again? What have they learned? What are these the farmers? What have they learned? Like, will they ever again go back and vote because of the color, because of the race? And will they vote against another person, or will they vote for the policies to benefit them? Or will they, okay, I normally say this, when you're going to that ballot box, or when you're voting, you vote yourself. And many people find themselves like they're not doing so. They're voting a person. You don't vote your policies, you don't vote yourself. So when you're doing those, when you are signing those papers, and when you're doing all that job, all that work, just put your name in the mind, but put a name in the mind, like, this is what I want to see in America, this is what I want to see in our nation, and these are the policies that I would love I would love now my children to go and follow. I would love my children now to go, like, I would vote for a good medical services. I'll vote for good education services, which are covering in this nation, and I will also vote that the policies will be for the benefit of Americans, not a group of rich and wealthy people. You just see what is happening. People are even running away from their nation. Yes. You're deporting people from your place because they are not white. But the people that you think they belong not to America or they hold America, now they are running away from you. I don't know. What have you learned from this episode? What have you learned from these issues of tariffs, from these issues of poor governance, and from these issues of like we are not one? We might have one. We might differ in color. We might differ even with how we talk and all that. We might even differ with the languages, but it doesn't mean like we are different from you. We are people and we do think, we do reason, we do eat like you do. We all have one blood red. I've never seen a white or I've never seen a black blood, a white blood. I've always seen a red blood. So we are all one. There's something in us which has conjoined us that we can never separate. And that's why, I think that's why God is so angry with people think that they're superior because they have certain things only. Now they think like they can control everything. Yes, the power is being fought now and then because everybody wants to be superpower and all that. But still, if you're in that seat or in that position, don't be like you are there now to oppress others because now you are there. No, because they will also cry unto their God. And we are in a place of like, because the things of God is a mystery, and we are all here to learn, and we are all here to be led by a certain power, superpower somewhere, and that's why we are all on earth, and that's why we cannot fry, we are human, and I wish these whites can take back a lot and they can swallow that we are all human. We are not different. The only difference that we have is the color. But color does not make us or does not make any black person or a brown person lesser. No. 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 And that's why now you're going back to God and crying and complaining that you cannot even toil your lad and the work is too much, and you feel like you can oppress the other nations, like you can force and make policies even for the Indians, and they're like, no, you're not. We have our own mind, we can do and make our own decision, we can learn our own government, and you can see the reaction on all these things which has been happening, and we can see them on the news, and we feel like, yes, at least now the world is awakening, and like Africans are awakening, Asians are awakening. Now people know their values. We are not like before. And when now the fear was the order of the day, like we fear because we were led or we were based on fear. It's not like before. So guys, in this commentary hub, you're so much welcome, and thank you for watching, and your idea, your mind, and your reaction it's much appreciated. I would appreciate that. Yes, it's much appreciated. And in that comment section, kindly comment to us and let us learn more. If you are in America, how is this tariffs, and how is this issue of tariffs, and how these issues of trade is affecting you? What are you lacking, and what has changed from before, like from like 2 years ago? What are the changes? Because you are there, you can tell us more, and we would love to hear from you. And kindly in this channel, I would also urge you to subscribe and to like and to share. Yes, I'd really appreciate. Thank you so much, and we will learn more and we will know much, and we will discover a lot in this channel. Bye.